Namaste. I am Prashanth Chandra, advocate practicing in the courts from the last 3.5 decades. I am an active practitioner in the area of alternative dispute redressal mechanism, ADR. I am also a mediator certified. I also do mediation training. I have been a mediator in the court annexed mediation, commercial court, that is to say pre-institution mediation. I also do arbitration. I am an arbitrator myself. I am also active in mediation training, where I train the judges, lawyers, and also the public servants in the field of mediation, sensitizing on the field of mediation. I have authored a book on the subject, Commercial Courts Act 2015. I am also a managing editor of a magazine, Vakilara Vahini, a bi-monthly magazine. I thank Dr. Ashok Patil for having given this opportunity to share my views. This week, we are dealing with the topic of conflict and conflict management. Mediation is relevant to society. Mediation is very important to the dispute resolution, and therefore, to understand the dispute, the concept of conflict also has to be understood. There is difference between conflict and dispute. Therefore, in this chapter, in this week, we'll try to understand as to what is conflict, what is dispute. We'll also have a narration to understand it better. Then how to manage the conflict. That would be the agenda for the discussion today. Conflict is a serious disagreement, difference, or a misunderstanding. If the same is not addressed, it will lead to a situation where the parties who are having the disagreement may lead to the situation of lodging a dispute against each other. And if the dispute is not lodged, probably it will also aggravate to a situation of waging a war against each other. Parties see that there is a threat to their needs and interests. When the threat is there and it is looking like permanent and it is going to have effect on their privacy, interest, freedom, they start feeling uncomfortable, and that becomes a conflict. Conflict is not temporary. Conflict is not artificial. Conflict is there to stay for a longer time unless it is addressed. Conflict cannot be easily negotiated. It cannot be easily solved unless the other side is involved and both address the conflict and find a solution to it. This is where the role of a mediator comes, who will be a communicator between the two of the parties who are in conflict. Conflict cannot be seen. It can be observed, it can be felt. It is working inside the mind of the person. It is working inside the mind of the disputants. Conflict as pursued by A is different from conflict as pursued by B, the same two disputants in a dispute. Conflict can lead to deeper and serious consequences, and as I said, it would lead to war unless it is easily resolved. This is where mediation is very relevant to society, very relevant to the dispute redressal. When a dispute needs to be addressed, the mediator has to be knowing as to what is the dispute and what is the conflict. Now let us understand what is a dispute. It's a formal expression of a violated expectation. I want this, I'm not getting this, I want to lodge my protest against this. That's my dispute. Dispute can be a claim for a demand. It could be in a relationship where there are parties who are having some financial understanding and one of the party has not repaid the amount to the one from whom he has taken. Then it could be a demand for money, demand for repayment of the money, demand for the repayment of the interest. So it's a claim for demand, demand for right, demand for status. Dispute can be expressed or it can be implied. A dispute sometimes is in respect of money, which can be in the form of a dispute being raised before a court of law or a forum where the dispute needs to be addressed. Similarly, dispute can be identified and separated from conflict. Dispute can be distinguished. Dispute is always tangible. It can be addressed if the parties intend to sit. There are forums to handle the dispute. There are forums like the courts, other legal platforms where the dispute can be addressed by party approaching the appropriate forum. An unaddressed conflict manifests a dispute. There cannot be a dispute without a conflict. It is very rare to see a conflict being there. Unaddressed conflict manifests dispute. That is to say, there must be a conflict to have a dispute. It is very rare to see a dispute without there being a conflict. Now we have said about conflict and dispute. We have said about the dispute and conflict. Now we'll go to the following narration to understand the conflict and dispute and also identify both of them. It will help us to know and diagnose as to the role of the mediator in the future. Thank you.
Hello friends, so welcome to this lesson of week 1 where we are talking about an illustration based on conflict. So with this illustration we will be able to analyze the difference between a conflict and a dispute and on what does a mediator has to focus to resolve a conflict situation. So, my name is Tarishi Agrawal. I work as a research associate at National Law School of India University, Bangalore. I'll be the one who will be taking you through this illustration. So, let's go for it. So, in this illustration, we have two very good friends. Their name is Abhi and Karan. So, these names are all hypothetical. So, they are two good friends, Abhi and Karan. So, Abhi and Karan used to be very good friends since college days. Abhi owns a two-story house and he lives in the ground floor of the building with his wife and two children. So the first floor of his building is still vacant. So during the college days, Abhi has been helped by Karan a lot in his studies, which has made him pass through his college days. So Karan has helped Abhi a lot in his studies and to which Abhi owns a lot of gratitude towards Karan and he wants to repay the same. So during a conversation, Abhi got to know that Karan is looking for an accommodation to stay. Karan already had purchased the premises and he just wanted to stay, like he wanted an accommodation till the period of time that the building construction is complete. So Abhi, in order to repay that gratitude that he owned, he offers Mr. Karan to stay in the first floor of his house. Karan accepts this offer, and owing to the friendliness of their relationship, they did not enter into a formal rent agreement, or any sort of security deposit was also not paid by Karan. So, during the time of their stay, they became very good friends as they earlier were. Their bonding got strengthened over with a period of time. Even their wives, they became very good friends, and eventually they decided to start a chit fund business. So initially their business prospered a lot and they gained a lot of profits, but later their business suffered a massive loss. Now what happened is that during the COVID-19 time, their business saw a huge downfall and it faced tremendous losses. Now, as a result of this, the two wives who were earlier friends, they became enemies. They started blaming each other for the losses. Karan's wife used to say that it was Abhi's wife's fault, owing to which they faced this massive loss, while Abhi's wife used to say that it was due to Karan's wife's bad decision that they had to face these losses. So, in this period, a lot of people they started demanding their money. Also, a few complaints were filed against them to get their money back. Now, even the husbands started getting involved in this fight situation. The husbands started getting involved and they even started fighting with each other to get in this entire situation of the wives who had started the chit fund business and now they're in losses. So then what happened is that Mr. Abhi he tells Mr. Karan to evict the property, but then Mr. Karan refuses. So, in the spite of anger and out of ego problem and what all on Mr. Abhi's wife telling Mr. Abhi to do so, he filed a suit of eviction and recovery of rent for the entire period of time for which Karan has stayed in their premise. So let's assume that it was 40 months and the rent amount is suppose 3500 per month. So Abhi files a suit for eviction and recovery of rent. Now this matter goes to the court. Court refers the matter to mediation. So what is the dispute here? What is the conflict here? And on what would the mediator focus in order to reach out to an amicable settlement and to restore the relationship between Mr. Abhi and Karan, who used to be such good friends? We'll be seeing that. Thank you.